Can you beat every mainline Mario Kart in a week? The rules are simple. I have to play every mainline Mario Kart game. I only have to beat it on one specific CC. I don't have to play 8 Wii U because I'm playing 8 Deluxe. I have to get the awards ceremony for all the Grand Prix. So without further ado, let's get right into it. It is far too early for this. I'll do Toad. Not like that, but still. My goal is to beat this before work. I think you guys could tell I just woke up. So I couldn't sleep, so I decided to get an early start at Super Mario Kart, a game I thought would take a while. So I jumped right into it, played the first Grand Prix without any problems, and I was a little bored, however. So I joined a Discord call with some of my friends to help me get through it, which definitely helped. So I started the Flower Cup, which felt identical to the Mushroom Cup. The first problem I started to encounter was how weird Super Mario Kart's control scheme is. Yeah, it's because I've been thinking about buying a new GBA. Yeah, I'm awake for once. 3 in the morning. I have work in an hour. I really shouldn't be. I should be asleep. I have work in like an hour, but can't sleep. I've played this game in the past. I nuzlocked it, actually. But I was playing it on a harder difficulty than I did the previous time. So I was noticing how unfair the CPUs could be. But I ended up pulling through the Flower Cup. With the Star Cup, nothing really notable happened. So I got to breeze onto the Special Cup. I have struggled with the Special Cup in the past, never beating the first track. But after a few attempts of fail after fail after fail, I continued onwards with surprisingly no problem to where we got to our first Rainbow Road, SNES Rainbow Road. I gotta say, this track was a lot of fun to play through. Kinda hard not to fly off the edges, but I ended up winning and beating Super Mario Kart in 1 hour, 17 minutes. Wow, that was fast. Since I had extra time right after finishing Super Mario Kart, I jumped into Mario Kart 64. I had low hopes for this one, since I know the older games are harder. And I don't know what the accelerate button is. Is it A or B? Oh, it's A, okay. But to my surprise, throughout the Mushroom Cup, I wasn't really struggling, which left me with high hopes. Yo, why are they just driving up to Peach's cat? Yo, this game looks chopped. Yo, this looks chopped. I remember this game looking more 3D, like, oh my god, the blimp's back. Yo, what? And then what? Is it done after Super Circuit? Since I was getting close to the time I had to leave, I played through the Flower Cup as well, which, once again, nothing really notable happened. Okay, so I just finished playing the first 2 games. It is currently, yeah, you can see the mess behind me. It is 4:59 in the morning. I'm gonna change and go to work. When I get home, I'm gonna finish 64 and hopefully start Super Circuit. I don't know though, as it's Mother's Day. Bad day to start this challenge, but yeah. Once I got home from work and took a little time to relax, it was time to get back on Mario Kart 64, which, oh boy, the game got harder. With Wario Stadium, it was a mix of pure boredom and the CPUs being relentless, along with all the sharp turns and horrid controls that made this track a nightmare. And the problems got even worse with Sherbert Land. Ooh, Cheesecake's playing. I like this song. Why are we getting all the long tracks at the end? And this is where I get fudged, isn't it? Penguin? That was just a dreadful race. Took me a couple attempts, but I finally ended up beating it. Moving on to Royal Raceway. Oh boy. This one was a nightmare. I kept slipping and falling off the track, sliding into the grass, or into the water. I could not stay on the road for the life of me. Oh my god. That jump. Oh my god. I'm actually screwed. Let's go. At long last, we get to N64 Bowser's Castle, the only track I had a good experience with in the Star Cup, finishing it on my first attempt. After that, I started the Special Cup, which is where I realized how janky this game is, discovering probably my favorite skip in the game. Whoa! Oh. That is the craziest shortcut. The rest of DK's Jungle Parkway was fairly uneventful, with me getting the win. Yoshi Valley was really interesting since you never knew who was in first because of the multiple routes. I was shocked this could run on N64. Banshee Boardwalk was just quite interesting, especially when I saw this. It's crazy talking about other Mario Karts, like I forget that I'm gonna be playing all of them in these next few days. Oh my god, it's fish. And finally, we're at N64 Rainbow Road. Wow, this track looks really good, but on top of it, the CPUs wouldn't leave me alone. After pulling through on that track, I finished Mario Kart 64 in an hour 23 minutes. Time for Super Circuit. Since I had about 2 hours left of my day, I decided to get started with Mario Kart Super Circuit, another game I was really worried about, mainly due to the fact that it's known for bad controls and being really long. So I got started with the Mushroom Cup, where very quickly I realized this plays just like Super Mario Kart, but even more slippery. Oh boy. Once I got to Shy Guy Beach, I started to understand the controls a little bit more, and it made things easier to play. Once I managed to get the controls down, I breezed through the remainder of the Mushroom Cup. If I had to rank these from best to worst controls, Mario Kart 64 definitely had the best controls. This is almost worse than Super Mario Kart. And I actually enjoy Super Mario Kart. I'm not having a problem with this though either. Bowser's Cast. Bowser's I'm probably gonna have to bleep that. That's the thing I don't like about this. I liked how 64 only had one Bowser's Castle. Instead, this goes back to the very repetitive nature. Ooh, the podium. Fish is back and he just took it. The Flower Cup is where things got pretty difficult for me because I've been up well over 12 hours at this point and I started to feel exhausted, so I was making some stupid mistakes. But regardless of all the bonks, I ended up finishing the Flower Cup, had a lot of fun with Cheese Land and Mario Circuit, and it was off to bed.
It is currently 5:13 p.m. I'm gonna go to bed. I'm kind of disappointed in myself. I wanted to make a little more progress, but I'm happy with the fact we got through 2 games and then 2 of the 5 cups for Super Circuit's Nitro tracks. Tomorrow, I'm going to try to do the Retro tracks and get through 2 more games, meaning hopefully we end after Mario Kart DS, hopefully further, but we'll see.
Well, it's 11:51 p.m. on day 2. I just got home. I am tired. I made a huge mistake by not playing today, but I got caught up with so much stuff. So, hopefully tomorrow, I can get back into the swing of things and actually play some Mario Kart, because things aren't looking too good. I'm tired. I'm going to bed.
Since I didn't play yesterday, I had to get an early start today. I feel like I don't have much to say as I just woke up. Right away, I noticed a total difference in my playstyle as I was rested and ready to go. The controls once again felt very slippery, but then again, that's just Luigi Circuit. After that, we got to play a track I could only define as peak. This track is great. This is my favorite of the GBA tracks in DS. After that was Fish. And then the track where the sun actually sets this time. Yeah, this was an easy one. At this point, I realized I screwed up. I played the Flower Cup on the wrong CC on Sunday, so I had to redo that. After playing the Flower Cup again, I moved on to Snowland, which was just slippery and unenjoyable. But at least after that, I got to play Ribbon Road, which, oh boy, probably one of my favorites so far. Then the rest of the Grand Prix was just boring. Now we're at the Special Cup, the final of the Nitro Grand Prix. And I'm sad to say, it was really boring up until Rainbow Road. Rainbow Road was a challenging track to race on. I was getting bumped around, and at the end, this happened. Let's go. What? Highway robbery. And with that, done with the Nitro tracks. Well, it's time to replay Super Mario Kart. I left during the creds, ended up taking a nap before tackling the retros. Okay, we are back. Let's go. Honestly, the extra cups were nothing to write home about, nothing crazy, but for some reason they were more fun to play than the regular courses. When I was playing Super Mario Kart, I was given some advice by a friend that these tracks are really difficult, but I didn't have any problems. I just breezed through them, which is why I'm not going to talk about them that much. The entirety of the retro tracks felt like a mix of Super Mario Kart and Super Circuit, which is to be expected. They were really pleasing to look at, boring to play, because I've already played them. The new atmospheres really helped. The only one that really stood out to me was Rainbow Road. We have made it to the end. We have arrived at what I've been told is the hardest thing I'm going to be playing this entire challenge. I've been told by multiple people that the SNES Rainbow Road in Super Circuit is hell, so good luck. I'm starting to see it. Oh, I am so seeing this. That's because I kept getting pushed around and absolutely bodied throughout the race. Never mind. I didn't think I could do this, but here we are. You guys don't know how scared I am. I am like terrified right now. I'm shaking. I'm actually shaking. No way I actually clutch this up and steal the win. And that's Super Circuit! I'm not gonna lie, the SNES tracks were way better. The SMK tracks were way more enjoyable than the Super Circuit tracks, for sure. After that, I ended up finishing Super Circuit in a whopping 2 hours, 14 minutes. Dang. Here we are with Double Dash. I had breakfast before this. Where is Toad? Yo, this is the combo I used when I first played this game. Oh, what the f? My controller died. After going to get McDonald's, I came back to play Mario Kart Double Dash, a game I really looked forward to playing. I knew this would be a shorter one because it's only 4 Grand Prix. Luigi Circuit was a great starting track, since it helped me relearn the controls and just get used to everything. Peach Beach was just funny. Pingus! Other than that, nothing really happened in this race. It was just fairly straightforward. And after that is the absolute BS that is Baby Park. Do I even need to explain? By the time I got to Dry Desert, I started to feel my mindset change. I started to be more positive and optimistic about this. I even started considering starting Mario Kart DS today, which is my original goal. Throughout Mario Kart Super Circuit, I was starting to feel burnt out, and I even considered giving up on this challenge. But with Double Dash, I'm feeling a lot better, as I said. So I finished the Mushroom Cup. Pingus! Put in my name, and it's time to go to Mushroom Bridge. Mushroom Bridge was a lot of fun, especially the part where I broke multiple traffic laws. What is that? What is that? He did. He did. I don't know why it's so funny watching my driver juggle. My driver's juggling. And then we're just karting on top of a bridge. We're breaking local traffic laws with this one. If I'm being honest about the rest of the Flower Cup, it was really bland and uneventful. So here's a montage. On to the Star Cup. Sherbert Land kept screwing me over. I was crashing into every little thing. With Mushroom City, I was dodging all the cars and trying not to get hit.
Trying.
Yoshi's Circuit is so forgettable, I forgot I played it. And with DK Mountain, I had a lot of fun jumping down the hills and just trying to win, which I did. Then it was time to replay the Star Cup to unlock the Special Cup. This is when I was starting to experience that burnout again. This time it really didn't affect gameplay, I got through it without any problem, and it is time to start Special Cup. Oh boy. We started off with Wario Coliseum. I see why this track never returned. It is not fun to play. It's not a difficult track by any means, it's just boring. On Dino Dino Jungle, I had my greatest clutch of all time. Oh! That was nuts. With Bowser's Castle, I was getting crushed by thwomps, hit by the fireballs, and getting absolutely Mario Karted. Regardless of all that nonsense, I got through the track, albeit with really bad placement. Now it's time for Rainbow Road. Once again, another struggle track. I kept speeding off the edge of the track, getting hit by items, or just getting bonked. After clearing the Special Cup, it was time for me to go into 150 and start grinding to get All Cup Tour. That grind was an All Cup bore. Every run went the same way. First two tracks absolutely flawless. Oh! Bowser committed murder! What the hell? Then I would get absolutely destroyed in Bowser's Castle and Rainbow Road. So I decided to go practice those two tracks exclusively. And on the next run, I unlocked the All Cup Bore. Let's go. It's time that I get this game done with. Is All Cup Tour long? With All Cup Tour, you always start with Luigi's Circuit, but I was lucky enough to get Wario Coliseum as my second track because that track sucks. I don't have to play it later now. Then we got Pingus Beach, Baby Park, and DK Mountain. Solid 3 in a row. Then we got Dry Desert, which is forgettable. After that, I broke traffic laws again, drove through a garden, went back to the place where Bowser committed murder, actually won in Bowser's Castle for once, became the Midnight Motorist from FNAF. Then we got to the absolute dog that is Waluigi Stadium. Need I say more? On Yoshi's Circuit, I got the mushroom shortcut for the first time in Double Dash, which was cool. Daisy Cruiser, I realized, wasn't flooded underground. Sherbert Land is still mid, and Rainbow Road was surprisingly easy this time, netting me with the perfect All Cup Tour run. With that, I finished Mario Kart Double Dash in 2 hours, 41 minutes. I don't know how a short game took this long.
It is 9:08 p.m. on day... What is today? Tuesday. Day 3. I can't think. So yeah, I'm going to bed. I'm tired.
On Wednesday, I didn't have the chance to play for most of the day because I worked, I had a friend visiting town, and I had to stream Minecraft. Really good 1 pound fish. Video on that soon. But finally around 8 p.m. I got to play Mario Kart DS. My first Mario Kart. Weird coincidence. I seem to always stream Minecraft around the time of a marathon. But now we're back to karting as Toad. I chose to do this game on 100cc because I could never beat it as a kid. Figure 8 circuit kinda just existed. Yoshi Falls was a lot of fun. Also, my mic wasn't plugged in for this entire game. Cheep Cheep Beach was a blast, favorite track actually. And Luigi's Mansion went as smooth as butter. This is shaping up to be a good run. During the Flower Cup, I noticed something somewhat important. The first half of the first game of the day was always easy because I was getting a fresh start. But the later in I got, the more I felt burnt out, especially with games like Super Circuit and Double Dash. And I felt like everything DS onwards would be the same because the games are only getting longer. I remember DK Pass being better than it is. I guess nostalgia. Playing this game after playing all the others made me really appreciate this game's Nitro track lineup, with bangers like Tick-Tock Clock, Airship Fortress, and more I can't think of. But towards the end of the Nitro track, I started to struggle again. It seems it's always Bowser's Castle and Rainbow Road that absolutely screws me over, with me getting 7th place on Bowser's Castle and just slipping, sliding, not gliding yet, around Rainbow Road. But that was just the first half of Mario Kart DS. I was still feeling good, had a little bit of energy left, so I was gonna tank out the retro tracks, take an hour nap, and then jump into Mario Kart Wii. But that's not how things ended up going. SNES Mario Circuit was just bland and even more boring than before. Baby Park was still pretty funny to play. Banshee Boardwalk was even better than Mario Kart 64. Sky Gardens absolutely peak in this version, as I said. At long last, I made it to Yoshi's Circuit. I was just glad to be done with the retro tracks at this point because I was getting tired. Really didn't struggle with the game because I have so much experience with it, but I was glad for it to be over. I ended up finishing Mario Kart DS in an hour 40 minutes, and it was off to my hour nap.
Day 5, Mario Kart Wii.
I ended up sleeping through the night, so I had to get started early for Mario Kart Wii, since I'm starting to run really low on time. This is my last day off for the week. The first mistake I made in this run was using a cart. Bikes are better in Mario Kart Wii, but I didn't know that. My second mistake was using the Wii wheel instead of a GameCube controller. But I was on a Wii U, I didn't have the GameCube adapter either. I was like half asleep for this part of the run, so I was saying the most random crap imaginable.
Hey, it's the guy from Mario Kart World. This is probably like the most boring part of the run just because I'm asleep. Like not asleep, but I have asleep.
Once I got to Toad Factory, it set in how much of this challenge I had left.
It's just setting in how long this is gonna be.
I basically had to do all of Wii, all of 7, all of 8 Deluxe, plus the booster course pass today if I want to get things done on time. That's a lot of pressure. So onwards from that point, I started stressing out and burning myself out quickly. It wasn't even the game making me tired, it was just the stress knowing how much I had left to do in a small amount of time.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
This was the beginning of my downfall. But before I could go into a complete panic, I tried to come up with a game plan for the day.
My game plan for today. Finish Wii around 10 o'clock. Go straight to Mario Kart 7. Finish Mario Kart 7 around noon, 1, 2 o'clock. Edit a video for tomorrow, because I still haven't done that. Get a short done. Probably have that done around like 5. And then just try to start 8 Deluxe. Thing with 8 Deluxe is how time consuming the game is.
After that, I got coconut mauled, and then the dread started to set in of the fact how long this marathon really is gonna be.
I wonder if this marathon's gonna end up being longer than the Donkey Kong one. Because I feel like I've played like half the amount of time.
When I was in the middle of Wario's gold mine, one of my neighbors just started screaming and yelling in the middle of the street at someone, to the point where the police had to come, so I stopped playing to go outside to see what the was going on.
I feel like I haven't seen SNES Rainbow Road in a while. Not since Super Circuit on Tuesday. I think my neighbors on...
Once I came back inside, I jumped into a call with one of my friends so I could at least stay awake.
Yo. I know. I think my neighbor might be on... I've been playing Mario Kart Wii for the past 40 minutes. The entire time this man has been yelling and crying outside. I'm like, I don't know. I had to stop playing at one point. I'm just sitting at the window watching this. I'm like, I don't know. It's 7 in the morning on a Thursday. Why are you yelling? But it's not like yelling just to be loud, but he is like yelling at someone. Yo, the guy went on for
like since like 7 a.m. Long enough to play Mario Kart Wii in its entirety. So I did that. It definitely made the rest of Mario Kart Wii tolerable, since I don't like this game. But I had a lot of fun playing tracks like Koopa Cape and Maple Treeway. Definitely got my hopes up a little bit. I kept getting absolutely bodied in Grumble Volcano falling off the track. After that, I unlocked King Boo and it was on to the Special Cup. We started off with yet another boring desert track. Then we went to Moonview Highway where I broke international traffic laws this time, followed by Bowser's Castle, and at long last, Wii Rainbow Road, the worst Rainbow Road in the series. On this one, it really felt like the item luck was against me. I was getting shelled, I was getting hit by everything imaginable, so it wasn't that fun. I gotta say, after Rainbow Road, I was feeling good, I was wide awake and ready to go, so we started the Retro Cup, starting with the Shell Cup, beginning with the return of the Bingus! Okay, that's the last time I'm gonna make that joke. But in all seriousness, I played like crap and got 6th place. But then, I played even worse. Don't know how. Speaking of things I don't know how, they made Waluigi Stadium even worse. After that, my Wii U overheated, so I had to restart it. And that's when I realized I won't have Mario Kart Wii done by 9 a.m. like I hoped to. At 9:01, I started the Leaf Cup, so I was almost there. DS Desert Hills was just as bland as it was the day before. GBA Bowser's Castle 3, once again bland. DK's Jungle Parkway, I had fun with this one. And GCN Mario Circuit, I liked it better than Double Dash. By this point, I was getting bored of playing the retro tracks because it just felt like I was playing the games I already played over and over. It felt really bad when I was playing SNES Mario Circuit 3 because it feels like every game had it. Peach Garden was solid, DK Mountain was only slightly worse than GCN, and N64's Bowser's Castle went smooth. And like that, I finished Mario Kart Wii in 2 hours 31 minutes. Now it is time for peak Mario Karting. Feels nice to finally be at my favorite. Since it's time for peak Mario Kart, I had to grab my DS again. I was in a really good headspace because it was still early in the day, and all that's left are the 2 Mario Karts I play the most, being Mario Kart 7 and 8 Deluxe, which I play almost every day. So I knew if I didn't finish it in the afternoon, I'd be able to finish it before work on Friday. As I started the game, I made the decision. I was going to do the Nitro tracks as Toad, and the Retros I was going to play as Shy Guy. Mario Kart 7 is amazing. I legit love this game. I have so much nostalgia playing it from when I was in, like, middle school. Also, I remember, obviously, Mario Kart Monday with DK Sparks being, like, a huge thing when I was growing up. Oh, crap. How do I fix that? The character I usually play as in Mario Kart 7. I really have nothing to say about the Mushroom Cup, as nothing really happened, because I knew these tracks like the back of my hand. This is the Grand Prix I played the most in Mario Kart 7 as a kid. Did you just laugh at me, Peach? Get over here! Get over here! You laughed at me? Get over here! Goodbye. Goodbye, sayonara, sucker. Crap. The only noticeable thing was how unbalanced this game's item system is. I was getting blue shelled a lot. I gotta say, Mario Kart 7 had a really impressive Nitro track lineup. It's been very refreshing to play. Tracks like the Woohoo tracks really stand out to me, since they introduced the multiple sections instead of laps. And honestly, 3DS Mario Circuit just reminds me of 8 Deluxe Custom Track. Not sure why. Music Park was a lot of fun, and Rock Mountain, that track just reminds me of Blue Coins. I was just honestly flying through the game, feeling the best I've felt in the last few days, and I had nothing to really worry about anymore. It was just, can I beat the clock? The clock can I beat? Okay, that was a terrible Yoda impression. What the hell? Piranha Plant Pipeline could only be classified as an absolute masterpiece. Yo, this track is peak. Nah, is that the meta? This is a hot take, but I don't like Wario Shipyard. Not excited for its return in Mario Kart World. Whoa! Whoa! Hey, first place with the jump. Water. Summon up. Possibly just like a sink. Like I am a sphinx. Back-to-back mid-tracks, we got Neo Bowser City, but at least we're ending off the Grand Prix with one of the 2 amazing Woo-Woo tracks. I often get them confused. It's only a little past 11 and we're already on the Special Cup of our second game. That's impressive. We're starting off with DK Jungle. The music on this one is just peak. I love the music. Let's go. Final lap. Crap. I'm gonna be honest, I feel like Mario Kart 7 is gonna be the easiest game we have. Because it's like, we're breezing through this game. That's why I used it a million times in the Donkey Kong Marathon. Rosalina's Ice World was just short and sweet. 3DS Bowser's Castle is just forgettable as well. I've noticed this game has a mix of amazing nitros and fairly forgettable. But after that, we made it to the absolute gem. That is 3DS Rainbow Road. Oh my goodness, this track's beautiful. I love this track. So I just spent the entire time playing it, basking in its beauty. And like that, we are done with the nitros. On to the retros. Time I start the retro tracks. I'm switching to Shy Guy though. Just like I praised this game's nitro lineup, this game also has a fantastic retro lineup with tracks like Luigi Raceway, Maple Treeway, Coconut Mall, Mushroom Gorge. And the retro cups were mostly uneventful since I was just locked in. I was just gotta beat it, so I can start the monster that is 8 Deluxe. I was starting to stress out again because the thought of, oh crap, I have a little over 24 hours to do 96 tracks. That's overwhelming. I feel like my biggest detriment during this run was time management, and that shows especially with Monday where I didn't play at all, or even Wednesday where I played one game at night. I wasn't really managing my time well, which is why I started Mario Kart 7 so late into the week, to the point where I had to stress about whether I could beat 8 Deluxe on time. But I really don't have much to say about the retro tracks as I've played them so much that they all kind of just blur together. It was overall an easy time, and like that, I finished Mario Kart 7 in 1 hour 45 minutes, making it one of the shorter games. Now it's time for an absolute beast. Yo, we made it to the final game of the marathon. Even though time was a major concern, I was really stressed out, so I took a couple-hour break, leaving myself with only 30 minutes left to play for the day, so I got started with the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Ooh, let's go. I was happy to be on the final game, knowing that this marathon was coming to a close soon. Since it started to get very stressful and overwhelming, I felt my brain just melting into slop. But since I knew this game so well, my brain kicked into autopilot, and in a way I was playing without thinking. I played through the mushroom and flower cups, and then I headed off to bed, hoping I could finish the rest before work. I don't even know what day it is at this point. I think 6. Hello, day 6. On day 6, I got up nice and early, took a shower, and got ready to play some Mario Kart. Looking back, this felt pretty reminiscent of day 1, waking up around 2 in the morning to play some Mario Kart. It's nice to see the first day and what could be the last day be similar. But my morning started off with the Star Cup. More specifically, Sunshine Airport. I don't care what anyone thinks, that track is overrated. Speaking of overrated, there's also Electrodrome. We can't forget that track as much as I might want to. But my goal for the morning was to finish the entirety of the base game and attempt to do the BCP after work. But this play session was like a turning point in my mind. My time management got better. I was finishing Grand Prix in the span of 10, 15, the longest 20 minutes, making me think this is possible. I can do it. I had until 5:30 to play, and then I had to head out of the house. It was only 2:48 in the morning, and I'm already on Rainbow Road, meaning I'm over halfway through the top row of track. All that was left was the Wii U DLC, and it was on to Nitro tracks after that. They always say 3 a.m. is the craziest part of the day, and the fact I was playing Baby Park at 3 a.m. proves the point correct. That track is crazy. What made me question my pacing was at 3:10 a.m., I was starting the retro track. Throughout this run, I was going from thinking, I'll be okay, to, oh, I am so screwed, I don't have enough time. I was 1000% overthinking, which was the main problem I was having throughout Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, was overthinking. Unlike previous games in this marathon, where it was either controls, physics, time management, or me just being bad at the game, This time, the major problem was in my head. I was my own worst enemy. To stop myself from losing my mind, I jumped into a Discord call with some of my friends, which has been a strategy I've been using throughout the last week. A couple things I did to keep myself sane throughout the week was I was joining Discord calls with friends. I did this in games such as Super Mario Kart, Mario Kart 64, Super Circuit. I did it for most of the games. If none of my friends were available, I would just open up Spotify and listen to music. I did this during Mario Kart 7. But with 8 Deluxe, I just spoke to my friends, and that really helped me stay on track. By the time I got the TikTok clock, my sanity had just left the building. I was laughing over the stupidest crap imaginable. Just watch. No, I just had an idea. No, I was thinking Five Nights at Freddy's. I was thinking Gregory and Freddy in Security Breach. Dude. Come on, Gregory, we gotta get out of the pizza flex. But at long last, I made it to N64 Rainbow Road, the final retro track of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I completed it before it was even 4 a.m. I had an hour to do 2 Grand Prix. I knew I was set. So it was time for me to play the Wii U DLC, which went quite well. Hyrule Circuit has some phenomenal music. And like that, we are done with the base game. It is time for the Booster Course Pass. Let's go. I didn't realize this till I started the Booster Course Pass, but I've actually never played the Booster Course in its entirety offline. I've played the tracks on stream against viewers, but I've never sat down and done it in Grand Prix, so this was cool to see how good I actually am at these tracks offline. But I only had 45 minutes to play as much as I could, and whatever I couldn't finish now, I would have to do after work. Which, that's where the stress came back, thinking about the fact that whatever I didn't finish now, I only had like 2 hours to do later. Since I did not want to go into a 7th day, I wanted it to end right here. I wanted to end on a Friday, so I could enjoy my Saturday. Since this challenge went from being fun the first day, to now just feeling like a chore, I was absolutely dreading getting on Mario Kart every day past day 3. At this point, I wanted it all to end so I could just relax. There's one thing I can say I've learned from this marathon, and that's I don't think I could do another one of these for a couple months. This was absolutely mentally draining and burning me out beyond belief. But just like the base game, my brain functioned on autopilot throughout the game because I'm so used to playing this, as I play it almost every day. But the final goal I set for myself this morning was beating Sky High Sunday, which is my favorite Mario Kart Tour track, since I was getting through Grand Prix in 15 minutes apiece, meaning I could easily knock out the remainder today. I would just have to stay up a little later. So I got to grinding again. I finished Sky High Sunday at 4:52 a.m., leaving me 8 minutes before I had to get ready for work. So I decided, you know what? I could get ready a little later, so I played one more Grand Prix, and that was it for the morning.
It is 5:18 a.m. on Friday, aka day 6. So I'm about to head out to work. All I have left is a little over half the Booster Course Pass, and we're almost at the end of the challenge. Thank goodness. It's getting tiring.
First up, a song from DC, based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
When I got home from work, I put on some Spotify and it was time to finish the Booster Course Pass. I had a good feeling that I could finish this before I streamed. But were my feelings accurate? I breezed through the Moon Cup, beating 3DS Rainbow Road, which somehow they made this better than it was in Mario Kart 7. No clue how. And after watching the credits for the first time, I had the final 6 Grand Prix left and 2 hours till I went live. The pressure was kicking back in. When I was playing Amsterdam Drift, I couldn't stop admiring how beautiful this track is. The field of flowers just looks gorgeous. Just wanted to point that out. And lo and behold, DK Summit still sucks. And I know somebody's gonna ask, yes, of course I visited everybody's favorite track in Europe, Vancouver Velocity.
I know it's not in Europe.
No, why did I legit sound like a robot right there? But around this point, I started encountering another problem that I really haven't been talking about much. I kept running out of storage in my computer, so I would have to stop playing for a few minutes to move everything over to a separate hard drive, since I was recording for anywhere between 2 to 9 hours at a time. So I would have to cut up the recording, send it over. Each game was recorded in anywhere from 1 to 8 parts depending how long I was playing. For example, Mario Kart DS was 1 video in 1 session, Mario Kart 7 was 2 videos in 1 session, and 8 Deluxe was 8 videos in 2 sessions. I feel like that shows how scuffed this marathon was behind the scenes. It was being held together by duct tape. Kinda like my computer, not gonna lie. But after leaving Vancouver, I only had 2 Grand Prix left, and that was the final wave of the booster course pass. The one worry I had was, it was 151. I had to get ready around 240 to go live, meaning I only had a little under an hour to get as much done as possible. So we started off by racing through Rome. You could say we were roaming around. After that, we played the worst version of DK Mountain yet. Boy, is it bad. Daisy's circuit was just uneventful, and Piranha Plant Cove just sucks. I really don't know what else to say about it, if I'm being honest. And here we are, with 38 minutes left till I have to stream. I am on the final Grand Prix of this marathon. Madrid Drive is really cool. I think this is one of my favorite city tracks. Rosalina's Ice World, pretty mediocre. Bowser's Castle 3 is a huge improvement of the original version, and it is time. Almost 10 minutes later, we made it. The final track in the series, Wii Rainbow Road. I was getting bumped, I was getting karted, but I got first. And with that, I finished Mario Kart 8 Deluxe in a whopping 2 hours, 14 minutes. I don't know how it wasn't the longest game. So yes, you can beat every Mario Kart in a week. In total, it took me 15 hours, 45 minutes to beat all the mainline Mario Karts. Wow, this was quite a journey. If you enjoyed, make sure to comment, like, subscribe, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Peace, everybody. Have a great day. Stay awesome.